In this video, we're going to talk about bridging. The bridges we're going to discuss in this video are of wood, such as trestles. We're going to save pontoon bridges for a different video. Trestle bridges are more commonly associated with railroads, but in this video, we're going to look at trestle bridges as they pertain to military engineering during the Civil War. The process for building these bridges is found in the Manual for Engineer Troops by Captain Duane, U.S. Engineers, in its first chapter titled Pontoon Drill. It states, "The trestle bridges may be constructed in rivers whose depth does not exceed 9 feet and velocity is not more than 6 feet, preferably moderate depth, gentle current, and hard, even bottoms." During the early weeks of the Red River Campaign, the Federal Army had many bayou crossings on the roads to Alexandria. Colonel George Derogue Robinson, 3rd Regiment Engineers Corps d'Afrique, commanded the Engineer Brigade, which consisted of the 3rd and 5th Regiment Engineers Corps d'Afrique. These two regiments would later be redesignated as the 97th and 99th U.S. Colored Infantries. In the early weeks of the campaign, the engineers built and repaired several bridges of the trestle type. The rebels had burned the bridges in an attempt to slow or stop the Federals' advance. Captain Chamberlin of Company E, 3rd Regiment Engineers Corps d'Afrique, wrote multiple diary entries recording the regiment's bridge work. Engineer work would later save the Federal Army as it fell back from the campaign. Trestle work was not restricted to Louisiana bayous. They were used in every theater of the war throughout the conflict. For example, in 1862, as the Union Army advanced towards Richmond, Virginia in the Peninsula Campaign, the engineers, consisting of the U.S. Engineer Battalion, 50th New York Engineers, the 1st Minnesota and 5th New Hampshire Infantries, and the U.S. Military Railroad Construction Corps, constructed several bridges of various types along the Chickahominy Swamp, 14 in all. Many of the trestles used timber construction from Bottoms Bridge all the way up to Meadows Bridge. Many of them were crude trestle works that utilized the procedures for laying down corduroy roads, and as such had corduroy logs rather than planks as road work atop them. This use of trestle work and corduroying was often used as approaches for pontoon bridges, as seen in this scale representation. The rapid construction and repair of bridges were critical for the movement of armies. On the flip side, their destruction was also important as an effective element of wartime defensive strategy. In most cases, cavalry would be sent ahead of columns to secure bridge crossings. These crossings were often met with skirmishes between cavalry and infantry assigned to hold the bridges. If repulsing was unsuccessful, the bridges would be burnt as the enemy retreated to the other side, stalling the enemy's advance. Engineer troops and pioneers would be pushed forward to repair the damaged or destroyed bridges. Tool wagons would supply all the necessary instruments of construction, and the engineer officers would dispatch work squads to their assigned tasks. Materials in the surrounding area would be gathered to repair the bridges. In the movement towards the Cane River, the U.S. cavalry reported the availability of timber in the woods nearby and structures that could be torn down to be used as planks. The information passed along to the engineers included the length and type to be bridged, in this case, a trestle. A trestle bridge gets its name from the type of supports holding up the roadway. It consists of sills, posts, braces, caps, and stringers. So this type of bridge support used large timbers. These large timbers were utilized in a manner where they were not nailed together, but used a form of joinery. And this timber framing method cut notches in wood and allowed the pieces to fit together like puzzles and give each other mutual support. On top of these trestle supports were laid the stringers, bulks, or beams. Using joinery or being lashed with cording, they would serve as beams to lay the planks on top. These planks or chests would be finished off with side rails that prevented most wagons and men from going over the side. When the engineers completed the bridges, the armies could then quickly advance over them. Thank you for watching. For more information on Civil War military engineering and the 97th U.S. Colored Infantry, visit our website, 97th USCT.
Stand by the flag, boys. Stand by the flag.